Hi, I'm with Briotics Health. My name is Megan Delaney. I'm a certified ergonomist, and I'm here to talk to you about office ergonomics. First, we're going to just talk about the basics or Office Ergo 101. Then we're going to talk about shopping for a home office. Then we're going to look at eye strain, and then we're going to talk about how to stand while you work. Office Ergo 101. We got some goals here. The first being you don't want to twist or lean. You don't want to reach. You don't want to have any pressure points. You don't want to crane your neck. You don't want to squint, and you don't want to have dangling feet. Another way to think about it is 90-degree angles. There should be a nice 90-degree angle from the ear, shoulder, elbow, and from the elbow to the wrist. And then honestly, to kind of connect that upper body to the lower body, you want your ears in line with your shoulders, in line with your elbows, in line with your hips. And then from the hips to the knees down to the feet is another 90-degree angle. The fun version of this is looking like a T-Rex dinosaur playing the piano. Let's talk about upper body positioning a little bit more in depth. First, we're going to start off with the shoulders. They should be in a relaxed position, not shrugged. Essentially, I want to be able to see your neck. They should be even with your upper back and below your ears. With the upper arms, they should be hanging beside your body. If they're reaching forward for like your keyboard or your mouse, then you want to either bring your chair in closer or you want to bring your keyboard and mouse to the edge of the table. Because as soon as you start reaching forward, that's how you end up with neck discomfort, shoulder discomfort, and low back discomfort. Next, we're going to talk about the forearms. You should have a 90-degree angle between the upper arm and the forearm. Your forearm should be parallel with the floor, not resting on the desk. Remember, you want to look like a T-Rex dinosaur playing the piano. Pianists don't lay their hands on the edge of their pianos. Instead, they float over those keys. Now, if you're going to use an armrest, your entire forearm should be on the armrest. If it's only part of your arm on the armrest, it kind of creates a flying posture, so you end up looking more like a bird instead of a T-Rex dinosaur. And with the armrest, just make sure they're slightly below the elbows, and that way it keeps your shoulders in those back pockets. You don't want to have to work your shoulders up to your armrest. And then finally, we're going to talk about the hands and the wrist. Your hands and wrist should be in line with your elbows. They should not be bent up or down while keying / typing. And if they are, ensure that your chair height is up high enough so your elbow and your wrist are slightly over that keyboard and mouse. Now, if you take a look at that bottom picture there where the wrists are kind of bending out towards the sides, generally means your elbows are kind of flaring out too. So bring those elbows in closer to your body to have that T-Rex posture instead of having that bird posture. And then the second set of photos here, the person is resting their wrist on the edge of the table. This causes things like carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, and golfer's elbow. So you want to float over your keyboard and mouse. So in this case, you can take like a small rolled up hand towel and place it underneath your palms to give them some more support to keep that wrist straight. Next, we're going to talk about monitor positioning. If you're using a laptop or an external monitor, you want your screen to be about an arm's reach away. And if you don't have bifocals, you want your eyes to be in the top third of that screen or that browser bar area. Your screen should be viewable without you leaning forward. And you want your screen in line with your body. If you're only using a laptop, I recommend you get in an external keyboard and mouse so that way you can take your laptop and lift it up to eye level. You can use boxes, books, whatever you have laying around at home to lift up that laptop. What if you have two screens? If you have two screens and you have like a primary and a secondary, so you use one screen the majority of the time and you use a second screen for rest, then If it's like that primary screen is anywhere from like 60 to 90% of your time, you want to look at like that picture on the top there where the primary monitor is in front of you and that secondary monitor is at an angle and off to the side. Now that could be the right or the left, whatever works best for you. So what if you use both of your screens pretty evenly? You want to take a look at that bottom picture there where you have your screens kind of more like a book and you're in the middle of the book. And so the screens will be angled towards you so you can use your eyes to look between both screens, and that way you're not turning and typing. Next, we're going to talk about spinal position or back positioning. You want to sit all the way back in your chair. This will help give your back a neutral position. Most chairs don't have low back support. So if you use a rolled towel or a pillow to at the curve of your lower back or right above the hips there, that will give you some more low back support in your chair. What I recommend you do is take like a rope or a belt and tie it around that towel to help keep that towel in place. If your shoulder is your upper back supported, so are your shoulder blades hitting the back of the chair? If they're not, I'd recommend taking like a vertical bedroom pillow and sticking it behind your shoulder blades there to give your upper back some support. Make an effort to not lean forward while working. It is a hard habit to break, but it will save your lower back tremendously if you can work on it. Then we're going to talk about lower body positioning. As I mentioned before, we don't want those feet to dangle, therefore they should be fully supported. Either on the floor or using crates, a sturdy box, books, baskets, so the hips are in line with the knees. Where that little blue line is between the front of the chair and the back of the knee, you want to have 2 to 3 fingers of space in that section. So you can add a pillow to help push you out of the chair a little bit to get that 2 to 3 fingers of space. Let's talk about shopping for a home office chair. So there's a couple things you want to look for in a chair. First, you want it to be adjustable in height. You want to have an adjustable seat pan. You want to have an adjustable back support or lumbar support. And you want to have adjustable armrest or none. So what if you can't find all those things in a chair because you have a limited budget or maybe no budget? If you don't have much of a budget, look for a chair that has a fixed seat pan. So where that purple line is, measure from the back of the hip to the back of the knee and take off 1 to 2 inches. And that's where you should get that seat pan. Get a chair without armrest. And what I do is I rest my hands in my lap when I'm not typing, and that helps keeps my shoulders relaxed. If you don't have any budget, try using a dining chair or a folding chair. To the best of your ability, try not to work on a couch or recliner, but if that's your only option, take a look at these photos here on the right to help set yourself up for success. Again, here's some more photos here of how to create a better working position for yourself or for your kids. Let's talk about work surfaces. Couple options here. You want to look for something without drawers, keyboard drawers being the exception. Ideally, you want a table that's near your elbow height, so that way we don't have to lift up the chair so high to get your elbows and your wrists slightly over that keyboard and mouse. Plastic folding tables are a great option for this. A couple of them have that height adjustment. And then you can kind of put it away as soon as the pandemic's over, when it's over. Let's talk about keyboard and mouse. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but if you can invest in an external keyboard and mouse, It will allow you to place your laptop at eye level and save your neck, shoulder, upper back, and lower back lots of discomfort. The keyboard and mouse that I have pictured here is $20 from Staples. You can get them cheaper when they're wired. It doesn't have to be fancy, but again, just something to save your neck. If it's not available, tilt the laptop to raise your screen while keeping your wrist straight. So that picture on the bottom right there, they're utilizing some binders to help keep those wrists straight. Eye strains. So you want to limit eye strain. Use overhead lights as needed. Avoid excessive light. You might need to close your blinds or angle them. And I always recommend that you have your perpendicular to the light source. So for example, in this picture here, the window is to the side of the desk, and that's what I recommend. You try not to have your window coming in from behind or facing the window. You'll end up squinting a lot and causes some headaches. So another way to prevent eye strain is the 20-20-20 rule. So every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So for me, I'd look out my window, take a look at my vegetable garden. At least that's what I did over the summer. And for 20 seconds, and then I go back to work. Standing office ergonomics. So regardless of whether you're sitting or standing, you still have a couple things that you want to take a look at. You still want your eyes in the top third of the screen or that browser bar area. You still want the ears in line with the shoulders, in line with the elbow, in line with the hips. And you still want a nice 90-degree angle between the ears, shoulders, elbows, and then the elbows to the wrist. Couple thoughts and guidelines with standing. You don't want to stand for more than 30% of your workday. So what I generally recommend for people is you stand for 10 to 20 minutes, you sit 30 to 45 minutes, and you move back and forth like that. And when you stand, do not stand with your feet together. You want to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, or you can even do a lunge stance where you have one foot together. Please speak to your doctor before implementing a sit to stand program. Sit to stand home remedies. You can use some boxes or books to lift up that laptop up to eye level. Again, I use my dresser when I stand at home because that's the perfect elbow height for me. And then I just lift up my laptop. So if your countertop is too low for you, take some books and stick it underneath your keyboard and mouse to get that nice T-Rex posture. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. You have a wonderful day.